deadly, deadly.
When you see us on the street, you don't really want to speak to us. You don't know we're black and deadly. When you see us at a show, oh, now you want to know us, cause you know we're black and deadly.
Respect. Respect, respect, respect.
The message right from the start and our philosophy was around respectful, honest, rewarding relationships, and that's what we should all expect in our lives, and particularly for young people. So that was kind of like our overarching positive framework.
Traditionally with Indigenous people, sexual health has always been a taboo subject.
Community consultation, the whole process is extremely important. It's going to take a bit longer than what you think it might take. To access Aboriginal committees, working parties in whatever town you may be working in would be your first point of call. So, you know, there's elders sitting on that, there's health workers and education workers, to talk to them to see what strengths the community has to work with that.
Any ideas on a venue, location?
To let it come from the community and be finding out from the community who was who and how it all worked, because I went in without any assumptions because I knew nothing about the local Aboriginal community. So I had to ask, you know, who do we see, who's the best person to see, what's the process here, what's the way we should be going about it.
It's important to speak to Aboriginal elders about cultural awareness and cultural safety. That's where I'd go first. We want to make sure that it's a safe environment for everyone, and especially speaking of taboo subjects, there's men's business and women's business, and to find out all of these things, the community, that's where you'll go first, and you'll find out language to use and people to go to.
What we've done is develop a project with the community, and what the community wanted was to run some forums, so we did 2 forums.
When you see us on the street, you don't really want to speak to us. You don't know we're black and deadly. When you see us at a show, oh, now you want to know us, cause you know we're black and deadly. When you see us in the car, you don't know who we are. It don't matter cause we're black and deadly.
Today we're here to have a chat to the parents and carers of young people in regards to what they feel is important for their kids around sexual health and relationships.
The way it's been presented, having a comedy involved in it, then having a deep discussion, which really probably didn't put anyone into an embarrassing situation, but I thought it was very general, really good information.
Very important to learn these things. Like when I was growing up, everything was different. People are a bit separate and they don't communicate like we did in the old days.
My grandparents to come here today, it was really good to see that. And sometimes, you know, you see them get a little bit shy, but then at the same time, it's breaking down these barriers that have been put up over time, and I really look forward to the future for our youth and our younger generation to say, or to be able to live healthier relationships.
Sometimes the imagination is sexier than the actual act of doing it.
The main reason I think that families need to be involved and communities in that discussion is because you can talk about ethics, you can talk about morality, you can talk about how do you treat other people in romantic and sexual situations, and how should you be treated. And those things might be covered at school, but they're probably not. So it's really important to hear from your mum or dad or auntie or someone else, you know what, that doesn't sound right. You know, someone shouldn't call you that name, or they shouldn't pressure you, or, you know, all of those kinds of issues that come up.
I found the informal talking worked really well. We were chatting from lunchtime through the yarning circle about life in family and what was really confronting about sexual health being a parent, how it was to talk about the sensitive issues. And really what was coming up a lot was sexual safety. And there are some issues in this discussion that don't have clear answers.
We found out some pretty exciting information so far. Probably the biggest theme we found for the day is making sure that we keep these conversations in the family unit, and also the influence that the family unit can have on young people, and also their approach to sexuality and sexual health.
We spoke about positive sexual health, the importance of family and love and support and foundations for life. We also spoke about the hard issues when there's family violence and sexual assault present.
A more open conversation, so that it's a more mature conversation, I believe, talking more about feelings, you know, and I think that was important, where when you're talking about sex, you're not thinking about the proper consent and the proper feelings, how you may feel.
The biggest role that services play is to try and decrease that stigma that is out there about sexual health, you know, and trying to promote it as a safe thing for community to talk about instead of something that, you know, people try to shy away from.
But now, the next generation, different story.
Yeah.
Must be safe.
Yeah.
That is the word, safe.
Deadly. When you see us on the street, you don't really want to speak to us. You don't know we're black and deadly. When you see us at a show, oh, now you want to know us, cause you know we're black and deadly. When you see us in the car, you don't know who we are. It don't matter cause we're black and deadly. When you hear us on the radio, now you
It's going really well. This is lunchtime on the second day. Yesterday at the Parent and Carers Forum we had, I think it was between 35 and 40 parents and carers, and today we've got, I think it's between 70 and 75 young ones here, secondary school students from across Albury and Wodonga. They're having a great time. The feedback's been terrific, breaking down the barriers, the uncomfortable nature of talking about sexual health and relationships.
I certainly think today it's been great being able to have those discussions of both men's and women's business together, so everyone is on the same page.
A little bit of a jack of all trades out here today, talking to the young people about their sexual health, being involved in the panel, being more informed as a parent, and as you can see right now, cooking the burgers. It's been a fantastic 2 days. We had the Carers Day yesterday, the students today, and by all sounds the kids are really enjoying it and get a little bit out of it, and now we're just feeding them.
Looking at sexual health and also combining, giving them a little bit of knowledge about drama as well and freedom of expression.
It's a better sexual education for people because it's more enjoyable, it's more funny, and it's more down to earth, and it's not it's things you can laugh at, and you're not having to worry about, you'll be judged about other people.
There is bad things out there, but there are good things too, and people got to look forward to that.
Certainly having the expertise of Nellie and Isaac here have been fantastic. I think it's really, really great to make light of a lot of sexual health issues. We know that they're really important, we know that they are serious, but in terms of to try to normalise it with young people, the way that we do that is through humour, and I really think that draws the best out of them as well.
They're a lot more relaxed, they're integrating really well, and they're talking to staff members and service providers. They are really, really well informed.
It was like the young people were given the green light, because it's been such a taboo subject, and for an elder to just jump up there and say, you can talk to me about it, or this is what you should talk about. They're like, okay, they've given the green light, and a lot of young ones, we've got a lot of respect for our elders, so to be given, approval, I guess, to do that, I think opened the gates for them.
If we can just get young people talking about sexual health, I think they're obviously going to be more inclined to seek information if they are unsure about things.
I think it's also an example of making sure whatever we do in health promotion is using the existing strengths and the capacities of the community that you're working with. What do people like? What do they like to do? Build on those strengths. Build on the successes that people have had previously, and in this community there's been lots of wonderful experiences that young people have had with dance, drama, filmmaking, so it was great to kind of build on those successes.
That's good. Following on from the forums, we did workshops in drama, hip-hop dance and filmmaking, and with local Koori young people. And from those workshops, out of those workshops, came 4 short video clips.
We walk along and go, get gammon. The girls have been, I think, really open towards each other and to any ideas and creative. And there's been no shame, it's all been game. really, especially this one. And it's been wonderful having Bobby give us the information that I don't have, the sexual health information.
They're gonna go and do like all the stuff that we're gonna do. They need to be like really aware of like, it's not back in the old day where you can just do it and like you're not gonna catch anything. You need to be like really prepared and sure that you're not gonna catch something and you're not gonna end up pregnant and you're fully like ready to do it with like that person. Like not rushed into it and doing it just because like you're at a party and you're drunk. You need to wait for that right moment. Me and Jar are gonna do it this weekend.
Oh, definitely. Do you guys have any fragments?
So it has been good, but I want to do more after this with these young ladies.
I'm on the pill. You don't need me.
Oh, Tita, you know they don't protect you from everything.
What do you want about?
This project has been community control at its best. You know, the community have steered everything on this, and it's been wonderful. You know, us as Aboriginal people, we're storytellers and we like humour, and to muck around and have fun with it by telling a story at the same time,
Okay, 3,
you know, it's what
2,
we do best.
1.
A, B, C, D, E.
Sex is everywhere nowadays because it's a sex appeal that's also in ads and television and everything, and a lot of people don't realise that with sex comes sexually transmitted infections. So, you know, we thought, hey, we'll just do it on this.
They think of girls as like trophies. Like, oh yeah, I've done 10. Oh wow, really, I've done 12.
Yeah, you try to outdo it.
Yeah, just shut up.
I'm not helping you.
And then, well, girls take it just a bit more seriously than guys. Like, you know.
I think it depends on who you hang out with.
But I think it needs to be talked about much more.
You think like, if you want
If I want to think about some things that could, you know, jeopardise how good the tree looks. They'll be really happy with what they've produced, and they'll be happy to have been part of it, and they'll be happy to get up in front of other young people and talk about these things, which has really been the whole aim.
Put your hands up, put your hands up, everybody. Come on, put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up. All the Monterey's, all the Coolers, all the Coolers. Can you hear me? All the Nungas, all the
Trust. Be honest with each other.
When you see us on the street, you don't really want to speak to us. You don't know we're black and deadly. When you see us at a show, oh, now you want to know us, cause you know we're black and deadly. When you see us in the car, you don't know who we are. It don't matter cause we're black and deadly. When you hear us on the radio.
So I'd like to introduce all you fellas that made the video clips, that came to the drama workshops, the hip hop workshops.
So here it is, Gunner But True short clips about your bits.
I'm on the pill. You don't need me.
Oh, Tita, you know they don't protect you from everything.
What do you want about?
STIs.
Come on, put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up, everybody. Come on, put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up. All the Monterey's, all the Coolers, all the Coolers. Can you hear me? All the Nungas, all the Nangas, all the Bama. Can you hear us? All the
What do you think a good relationship is?
Showing respect.
Being able to trust each other. Are you proud of yourself? I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of ourselves. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah. Come this way. All we need to get you to do is to wee the first part of your wee into this jar, about this much. Do you think you can do that? All right, fabulous.
Empowering the kids themselves, seeing themselves up on the screen, and they're the ones giving the messages. And I think it was really positive, the feedback, whether it was in laughter or applause, for their performances and also for the messages. And they really were listening. You could see them listening.
Especially with the clips that have used a sense of humour and, you know, talking their language, it's fantastic.
It has brought a lot of kids together that may not have known each other before.
They're all pretty young, and to see themselves up there doing something like that, I'm sure they'll be proud
of what they're doing and give them confidence for in the future.
You can just got to see the look on the kids' faces as well, to see that they've been really enjoyed the whole experience.
As a theatre practitioner, it's shown me a lot of kids with a lot of great talent, and we're looking at pursuing this with an organisation working with mental health. They've got an outlet now where they can be creative, and it is just for Indigenous kids, so they can empower themselves first and then they can take that elsewhere.
I've already spoken to my students about taking them back to school. They have to do health projects in the second half of the year and they're really keen. So they've been collecting posters, we'll download the DVDs and they'll do the education to the other students, so it will be great.
Myself and JT came here today through just some of the films that we saw from the kids here. I thought it was unbelievable. You know, they used some of our music, which we're really happy about. We really like to be involved in stuff like this. So we decided to come down, be here for the launch. Go through a whole process of songwriting and recording with the kids.
To keep writing stuff and we'll get it all done by this afternoon.
Any man can go and sleep around, but a
Is condolence and contracept.
Yeah. All the songs are about, you know, love, sex, relationships, respect, all that kind of stuff. So they really did a really good job with all the lyrics and stuff.
An STI is not a fruity sight. Any man can go and sleep around, but a real man knows when to settle down.
Using music to promote all of this is a really good way to do it, especially through this generation coming up. They really love the music and they're going to go home and show their friends, their family, who are going to show their friends and their families and stuff like that. So it really spreads the word really good.
They'll come across a lot of barriers. Some of those barriers are personal or emotional and some are academic. But most of the time it's the personal stuff that gets in the way and those life skills that actually becomes the barrier to them following their dreams. And so if they've got good life skills, they actually do better in education. So we'll see the outcome of this project with these young people flow through over the next 5 to 10 years.
Come on, put your hands up. Put your hands
We learnt like stuff about safe sex. You know, it was pretty fun and how much you've learnt.
I hope that it continues to keep young people safe.
Put your hands up.
Make sure you go to the doctors and
To get a checkup. Be proud of yourself no matter what.
It was absolutely awesome.
I reckon the rap song was cool as.
Awesome, it was awesome.
I forgot to say, our rap song, it's by me.
Lots of fun things, really informative, and you know, just bring our community together.
When you see us on the street, you don't really want to speak to us. You don't know we're black and deadly. When you see us at a show, now you want to know us, 'cause you know we're black and deadly. When you see us in the car, you don't know who we are. It don't matter 'cause we're black and deadly. When you hear us on the radio, now you really want to know us, 'cause we're black and deadly.
They were open, they were engaged, they learned so much, they taught us a few things.
There's a lot of stigma and shame around the STIs, the bloodborne viruses, sexuality, so we're working in that space. We're trying to build people's confidence to be able to talk about it, you know, and open up the issues and get people with clear facts.
Being proud of who you are, white, black or whatever, just being proud and just being smart is a big thing to deal with today, and just letting everybody else know that.
I learnt it's important to have respect.
The videos and the music, everything.
The singing. Free stuff.
It was great to see the kids stepping over these barriers of being shame through, you know, having that cultural identity through the, you know, the dancing, the music and the art. You could just see how empowered they felt by these opportunities that were created. So tell me a little bit about them Burai casts.
Yeah, the beautiful Belly Burai cast was a project with young pregnant and parenting mums and dads, And it was really important for us to make sure that they were included in this project. The rest of the YouTube clips focused on young Aboriginal people who are still in school, and there's a lot of young Aboriginal people that aren't still at school, and many of them are pregnant and parenting in their teens. So that was a lovely project where we focused on the use of creative arts and how important they are as an education tool and a tool for knowledge exchange around staying healthy and well during pregnancy and birth. Also connecting with cultural heritage, so that worked out beautifully and the end result was just delightful. And the young women and their partners and their beautiful babies, I think, are all really proud of those two clips. One focusing on the belly cast process itself and the other one more around the education programs that happen locally for young pregnant and parenting mums and dads and their kids.
A lot of young women that present to our program have low self-esteem problems, they're not comfortable with their body, they really don't know what's happening. You know, their breasts are enlarging and they've got this great big tummy and they just don't know what to do.
Well, with this cast, I'm going to hand it down to my grandmother and give it to her. Because my grandmother's a big part of my life, she helped grow me up. It's just about where my mum and my dad come from.
His name's LeBron Tahiala Walter Mark Galbraith. The little people on there is the spirits, mostly of the people that we lost. So yeah, they're like looking over him. The blue circles is like my family, and the green one is Andrew's, and that's my hand and his, to know that like we'll always be there. And the emu is there for our clan, which is Yidinji.
Because every community you'll find are going to have their own ways, and you need to find out what's right for that community and what's not. For this project to happen, there was consultation through what we call our community working party, talking to different groups, making sure they understood the cultural protocols that maybe, because they were talking about sexual health, so who to talk to, what was appropriate, what was not, you know, men's, women's business and all that type of thing. And then how would it best to get messages across to the young ones. And I think that was done very well, engaging in education, engaging in the Aboriginal workers at the school and the health service. So I believe, and community members and elders.
You have to involve communities at the beginning and Aboriginal people at the beginning of projects. They're not coming in over the top or making decisions without involvement.
The engagement that we've had from everyone in the community, from the students who have participated and the parents and just general community members, has been fantastic. I think that all come about as being able to work together, you know, Indigenous and non-Indigenous.
I always get excited when I see so many different organisations and groups come together, especially when it meets community needs. So if it meets the community need, you know that you've actually formed strong partnerships.
Plus it brings together resources and knowledge that you generally won't experience work if you were to go solo and not include that.
It was important for us to have Aboriginal people making the initial contacts, so we had to be stepping back a bit and not just be white fellas coming in and saying here's another project, do this.
Real principles of working in the health promotion field with Aboriginal communities is ensuring that no matter what, it's community owned. The needs are identified by the communities, the programs, the processes, the whole works are really owned and driven by the local community, and the role of the non-Aboriginal worker is to be a facilitator in that process, to listen, to respect local views and to support the process in whatever ways are really deemed appropriate, so that when leadership tasks might be asked for of a non-Aboriginal health promotion worker, that it's done in negotiation. What is useful to see the program or the project progress, and ensuring that the decision-making processes and ownership remain clearly with the community.
Yeah, that's not till about 6 or so. That's later on in the day.
Sometimes it might be hard for you in a leadership role to step back.
Yeah.
To step back away from things, but just keeping in mind that flexibility and that community ownership at all times and that respect, I think that, you know, that will help you through with that.
Yeah.
It was important for us doing the workshops, if we were going to actually get people there to provide transport, you know, to help people get there and not just expect them to turn up, because they wouldn't. To be a bit easy about time and schedules and not be too concerned if everybody wasn't there right on the dot.
That whole notion of being like flexible and going with the flow, it's a little bit like, you know, where's the wind blowing, where's the energy, what people have got a passion for, and a bit like a dandelion where the seeds just go out, fly off with the wind, and some of them stick. And it's kind of like, well, let's go with what sticks. Yeah. That's a great idea. There's so many things we can do. Let's go with what sticks, what people are really interested in doing. One of the things about working in the health promotion area is that we do need good planning processes, good evaluation frameworks, that we choose a range of strategies and actions to reach our goal. Working with Aboriginal communities though, it's never a linear, straightforward process. It usually involves quite a lot of circular thinking, circular decision making. Often the decision making processes need to be incredibly inclusive, so that sometimes meeting targets in terms of timelines, you know, like doesn't necessarily happen the way perhaps that we might think that they should for the benefit of the project. And so having flexibility around that and being really open and reflexive to change is really important, I think, because you might have an initial goal and inevitably you end up with something quite different, which is great. It's part of the journey.
It is.
Initially we were only going to have a forum for young people, and the elders and other community workers said it's really important to have one for community and family as well, and involve elders in that, and that worked out really well.
I thought it was one of the keys to those forums' success, to create that supportive environment and give ownership back to the community, especially the elders that were on there that day. We, you know, were ready to change anything that they wanted or felt that they needed for the following day, so it suited them, and so it fit into cultural boundaries. And you know, I just thought that they had complete ownership, and they came back the next day to see how it went, and they loved it.
So for a program like this, really important to incorporate capacity building in the area of sexual health through education and training and informal opportunities for both the Aboriginal workforce and the non-Aboriginal health and education workforce, which we've been able to do.
It was also really good to see the Aboriginal health workers that weren't working in the field of sexual health increase their knowledge and be more confident in speaking about that.
From my perspective, it's really important to establish and maintain equal, respectful relationships, and to be really aware of any power inequalities that might be there. For me, it's really important that in the health promotion process, really regardless of what you might be working on, that there's a clear transfer of power to the Aboriginal community, workers, everyone involved. And by that I mean that resources, capacities, skills, knowledge, that there needs to be more of that with the Aboriginal community at the end of the project. And that as a non-Aboriginal worker, we're a resource to ensure that that can happen.
How do you measure that transfer of power? How do you know when that's...
Well, I think they're really good evaluation questions to see where has the transfer of power taken place, what evidence is there that that's happened, you know, is there greater decision making and initiative with the Aboriginal community. We also had a vision that we are making a small contribution towards improving the social determinants of sexual and reproductive health for Aboriginal people, building on family and community connections, which is a really important social determinant, improving health literacy, another really important social determinant.
And you saw that sitting around the table, not only at the forums but in the planning process, from when organisations would just keep coming to the table. You know, in the beginning there weren't so many, and then it ended up being over 19.
Yeah.
So that building not only family connections but community connections with health organisations, Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal. I think it's been amazing, and I don't know if that was the plan in the beginning, but towards the end it's just so great to see this network of people in Albury-Wodonga coming together for the better needs of Aboriginal people.
Yeah. Our vision really was to work obviously within the health sector, but also look at those sectors outside health. So working with the Education Department and schools, which we did, generalist Aboriginal agencies and other community services. So it ended up being a great collaboration.
So today, remember our elders.
What it's probably done for us is that it's shown that through the Smart Deadly Career Project we've been able to establish some great partnerships, and which will mean that we'll probably collaborate much better in the future.
It enables us to deliver a really good package and workshops and programs which you can see here today.
I found it a privilege to be part of.
I think the whole project has been very worthwhile.
You know, once those life skills are in place, you're empowered to follow whatever vision you have of your future. Yeah.
Sex, love and connections will be breaking down bad perceptions. Put a condom on your erection or maybe take some contraception. Sex, love and connections will be breaking down bad perceptions. Put a condom on your erection or maybe take some contraception.
Condoms are good, condoms are great. Come on now, let's celebrate. Use them right, have fun tonight. An STI is not a pretty sight. Any man can go and sleep around, but a real man knows when to settle down.